Hi, and welcome to Race Day Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Michele Rahal. On this edition, we are going to talk about a few things here on the program because, listen, there wasn't that much racing going on. The F1 guys had off. IndyCar was off. We did have IMSA at Watkins Glen, which I thought was a pretty good race. They did have to stop the race due to lightning, and so did the Cup race, which is ending here in a little bit, so we don't have the results as it sits right now when we did this show, so we apologize for that. But they also had a delay because of lightning. You had all the guys from NASCAR in Nashville racing up there, which great city, man, by the way. These guys know how to party. They came out in droves, sat at those stands, and they're ready for some racing out there. I love that.
Well, the thing about NASCAR is, hell, they could go through a hurricane and the race would still be going on.
Party animals.
Nashville is pretty much tornado country, but I've enjoyed Nashville. Story here. I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'm up there, the meeting with Carl Edwards. It's nighttime. It's the truck race. I've gone back to the car. I'm in the infield. I go back to the car. I crash. I fall asleep in the car. All of a sudden, fire trucks pull up. People are banging on the damn window, and they're going, roll the window down. I roll the window down. The car lights are on, and the guys racing around the track have called into their pits and complained because the lights from the car are shining in their eyes. And I am like, holy crap. Are you kidding me? I mean, it was like I felt like the Scarlet Letter. And I end up going back up to Carl Edwards' stand while, the race is going on. And they're all laughing at me and pointing at me because everybody knew it was me. It was embarrassing, but by the same token, hey, any publicity is good,
That's right. Hey, we're talking racing. Obviously, we'll get to some of those big stories. We also have some more big stories in the world of racing coming up with F1. We'll get into that. We're doing this new format here because we're also being streamed live for the guys over at Racing America, which I think is really cool on a streaming service there. Yeah. Zumo, Plex, local only, some great stuff, or only local or local now.
TCL
local
as well, I think.
Local now. Local only is a different website.
Yeah. Like for fans only or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's like a streaming version of that or something.
I'm afraid I'd lose out on that one.
Yeah, me too. I don't think I've had any customers on there, but
no, I'd be the geriatric version.
Hey, people are into that, man.
Yeah, well, not me.
Hey, we got to say, I had some pretty cool stuff go on over the weekend and the week. We had, obviously, I also work for the Big Green Egg on a daily basis. That is my day job. So, but I got to hang out with a guy named Mel Schmiller. It's hard to say his name's Canadian. You know me and names. I'll screw up my own name. But he came in, Dark Side of the Grill's his name, and man, he had a barbecue class. It was awesome. If you get an opportunity, go check out their social media, the Big Green Egg stuff, and you can see all the clips from there. Great guy, learned a lot. It was awesome to hang out with him, talk hockey, because I'm big into hockey. I love hockey, watching the Lightning, see if they can pull one off and make it to Game 7 and pull off a cool one. Be awesome back at home.
It's a tight one. I mean, I have no idea. It's stick and ball. I don't relate to it very well, but, from what I'm hearing, all I hear is, oh, we're going to watch the game, and I just don't know. I don't even know where they are. I think this is supposed to be a critical game tonight.
Well, if they lose, that's correct. If they lose, they're done. That's it. Avalanche win the series. Yeah.
And is that the Stanley Cup? Or is that playoff?
Look at you. Look at the brain on this guy.
Yeah, look at the brain on Brad.
Hey, and we also got to make mention of our sponsor, Rhino.co. That's RYNO.co. It's a classified for cars. You're going to find race cars. You're going to find classic cars. You're going to find some exotics on there as well. Parts, things like that. You find it all up there. Plus, they're doing a cool thing here. It is the Racer Support Tour 2022, which I think is their 2.0 tour, if you will. They've done this in the past where this is where they hand out some money to local racers and local tracks and things like that to help them out, because listen, when you're at that level, anything helps.
I've still got a suit. Can I show up and fake it?
Yeah. Hold on. Will you take a picture in that suit? How well do you fit in it?
Oh, I fit perfectly in it.
Oh, not me.
I know. That's why I said it.
I cannot fit in my old suit. I look pregnant, by the way.
I can still wear my clothes.
I can tell you who exactly I look like. Tony Stewart.
Yes.
And we got some news about him too coming up. Yeah. So I want you to stick around for that. The SRX was at South Boston. He got a little handsy with a couple of the guys. We're going to talk about that. Easy, Michele. I know you like hearing, people getting handsy with each other. Well, we'll talk about all that. And plus, I got to do something cool with the Ferrari Club of America here in Atlanta. Got to do a drive for one of the guys, Will, the GM for Ferrari of Atlanta. He's retiring. It was a cool thing. We got to go up through the mountains and run through the foothills of the mountains, if you will, and had a good time with that. So I got a little shout out to all those guys out there. That was a lot of fun. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the truck race, Xfinity race, and we'll talk about what was going on with little handsy Tony Stewart going on at the SRX series. All right, stick around. He's Michele Rahal. I'm Rob D'Amico. This is Race Day Nation. Welcome back. It's Race Day Nation presented by Rhino.co. That's right. It's a classified for cars, whether it's a classic car, a race car, whatever. You can find it right there on Rhino.co. And don't forget, they're running their Racer Support Tour 2.0. It's all online, RYNO.co. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Michele Rahal. And we were talking about the SRX series. These guys are awesome. I mean, the beating and banging. They are going for
they're
it.
Serious, man.
Tooth and nail. And the heat races, they're all building up. I mean, they were tearing those cars apart. And
which didn't go over well with Tony Stewart, considering he owns the series and he wasn't real happy with a few people, particularly Ernie Francis Jr.
Jr., yeah. And by the way, he's a young kid. He's out of the Miami area. This kid, we have actually talked about him on the show years ago. Growing up, and I think as a 17-year-old kid trying to make his way up through, now he's having these opportunities at this level. He's a great driver. He just hasn't found that home yet where he needs to be and be able to race the way he can. And I'm not sure, I just don't know the details behind it. Is it because he doesn't bring the money? Is it,
he doesn't have a lot of money. Stewart actually helped him, if I'm not mistaken, in the Indy Lights series. You get that ride, and Stewart likes the guy, but Stewart really got angry with him. Oh no, he got angry with him, like him or not. All these guys are all friends.
Yes,
but when they do something boneheaded, who's the first person that's going to jump out and tell you did it? It's going to be Tony Stewart. He wasn't happy at all with Ernie Francis. There was an accident, it was a spin, I think, by Paul Tracy. The smoke cleared, and Francis comes right down in front and taps on Stewart, and Stewart went ballistic. So after the race, he grabs him. There's footage of it, but he grabs him by the collar, and he's literally shaking him, and he's in his face. And you can see Stewart's eyes bugging out. He was so mad. Afterwards, he calmed down a little bit. He's talking to trying to think of his name. It's a senior moment. Willie T. He's talking to Willie T, and he just explains, I really like the guy, but when they do dumb things, I'm going to call them out on it. But it's a fantastic series. And if you notice, all through the heat races, we know Helio Castroneves won the last race.
Right.
But he made it all the way into the main and still finished 5th, which is a good thing for Helio Castroneves. It's making him look good. The guy's being consistent, but Stewart wasn't about to let anybody win this one.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Helio Castroneves. Wasn't supposed to be at that race, was able to get there and perform the way he did. So when that happened, a kind of a behind-the-scenes bet was going on that, hey, if you make it to victory lane this season, we'll look to get you a cup ride or a NASCAR ride, get him in an Xfinity car, something like that. And guess what? First race out of the box, pulls it off.
He's holding him to it.
I would.
He wants in on the Daytona 500, and he wants 2 or 3 other races as well. He's not wasting any time. I mean, he's really lobbying for it. And the guy that is running the series is the one that made the bet with him. And Elio is holding him to it. So I think Elio and the Daytona 500 would be a great addition. I really do.
I do agree. And I will say this, a pissed off Tony Stewart is an aggressive Tony Stewart that gets to the front and wins, because here they are on the podium. It's Tony Stewart. You have Greg Biffle and Bobby Labonte all on the podium. So what is the rundown look for the top 10? As I mentioned, Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle, Bobby Labonte on the podium. Ryan Newman was 4th. Elio Castroneves was 5th. Tony Kanaan 6th. Ernie Francis Jr. 7th, Marco Andretti 8th, Ryan Hunter-Ray in 9th, and Peyton Sellers rounds out the top 10 in the SRX series after South Boston.
Yeah, I mean, in the races coming up, I mean, I think they've got 4 races left in this series.
Correct.
I would expect next year the popularity of this particular series, they're getting people to watch just because they've got other people from other disciplines coming into the series, and they're doing well. So these cars are slightly different than just straight up stock cars, or what we call stock cars. Nothing stock about them, but they're doing well. And, you know, they're showing what they can do on these short tracks. And, you know, these guys are having a blast. I mean, they're having a great time. The people that aren't doing as well are the Paul Tracy's of the world, but if you take a look at Paul Tracy, he's got a weight deficit. I think they're going to have to go to balance of power. Well, I don't want to piss Tracy off. Let me put it to you that way. The dude is big.
Yeah, but, you're a dead man. By the way, that is Michele.
He should remember us. We interviewed him at one point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the dude's got hands like Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
And you can imagine how big he is now. I mean, from what I'm told, he's like, you know, fat bastard.
Oh, he ain't that bad. Come on. Get in my belly. All right, let's take a break here. We're also going to talk about Ross Chastain, because we're talking about aggressive drivers. And that is a guy that has been very aggressive in the Cup Series, and he's been chastised about that. But guess what? He's got 2 wins, and he's leading the points right now at a brand new stinking team. And I think that's awesome. I think it's incredible. I hope the guy doesn't change. We're going to talk about that, because some of these guys are saying, hey, you can't race like that. I'm one of those guys that say, hey, working, I'm sitting here on the points. It works for me.
Somebody's going to take him out, bro. Somebody's going to take him out. They don't.
He knows it. He knows it's coming. Well, let's take a break. We'll talk about that coming up.
You got it.
He's Michele. I'm Rob. This is Race Day Nation. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back. It's Race Day Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. The show presented by Rhino.co for all the classified cars, race cars, things like that. It's a great site. I want you to check them out. Sign up for it, because then you can check out some of the classifieds. If you're looking for a vehicle in the market for one, great place to check it out, to find a great car online in the classified section. And again, ryno.co. And don't forget to check out their Racer Support Tour 2.0. That's a big thing they're doing with local racers, so you can, you know, give some money away to those guys, which is really nice. And
it is.
They've done this.
Everything
before.
helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a set of tires, man. Come on, let's face it. That's a good, solid set of tires, and tires are expensive. They've gotten more expensive.
You got that right. All right, I want to run down the truck series real quick, because it was the 31-year-old Ryan Prix of the number 17 Hunt's Brother Pizza Ford for David Gilliland Racing with crew chief Seth Smith. They won the 2nd annual Rackley Roofing 200. It was his first victory and 5th top 10 finish for 2022. These guys have been awesome all year. They've been showing out. Again, it's a small team, but they've been able to pull it off here. But here's the results. As I mentioned, Ryan Prix, Zane Smith. We had Carson Hocevar, Ty Majewski, Stuart Friesen, Christian Eckes, Tyler Ankrum, Max Gutierrez.
Gutierrez.
Yeah. I was trying to roll my R's there.
Gutierrez.
John Hunter Nemechek and Matt Crafton round out the top 10. So congratulations to those guys. Points look like this. Zane Smith is your points leader. They can keep going back and forth, but Zane seems to be doing well and being very consistent, if you will. John Hunter Nemechek, Ben Rhodes, which I spelt wrong there on there. I'll have to get on my producer about that, and that's me. I'll get on him real quick.
Yeah.
Chandler Smith, Stuart Friesen, Ty Majeski, Kristen Friesen, Carson Hosevar, Grant Infinger, and Matt Crafton round out the top 10 there. So congratulations to all those guys. That is and again, that was at Nashville. So a good race there. Nothing really special. The truck race hasn't really been like crazy. Like usually the trucks are like it's almost like what we were just talking about in the SRX. That's usually the series that they get really physical, but we haven't really seen that lately, which I find odd. But here we are, and it is kind of what it is nowadays, and it'll cycle around. So that'll happen once again soon.
I think they've just finally come to the realization that, look, if you got to finish first, you got to first finish. And, if you're going to crash equipment, I mean, then you end up in the Mick Schumacher sort of an aura where everybody's eye is on you and you risk losing a ride because you're crashing equipment.
Yeah. And nobody wants that, right? You can't be that. And especially at that level when, there's not a lot of money tied behind you. The sponsors aren't huge. So you got to, kind of walk gently, if you will, around that series so you can make it to the next level. And talking about that, Josh Berry, who runs with Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, rumors have some things going on with the Cup Series. And I know he's a great race car driver. Actually, when he came on the scene, great dirt racer, all this stuff coming up. But I'm one of those guys that say, hey, man, you might want to give it another year before you jump into that series, get into the Cup Series. He's running good. He's in the Xfinity, and he's doing okay, right? But he's with a good team. I just have a feeling if you take that opportunity and you move up too quick, you may get a team that's not very good. Let's say, like we're talking F1, you have an A team and a B team.
Yeah.
You get stuck in that B team,
you can be stuck there forever.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that happens is these guys get moved up too early because they bring money with them.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I mean, it's not like Verstappen. Verstappen dominated. Piastri dominated. I mean, these guys that can dominate in F3, F2, they're of a different breed. And the same holds true for these guys that are running the trucks, running Xfinity, and then trying to move up the Cup. They better dominate. If they can dominate, that's a different story. If they're not dominating, they need to take another year maybe and really get their racecraft down.
Yeah.
Just as simple as that.
I agree with that. And, we see that a lot, especially in the series where even remember Justin Allgaier came up, tried to do the Cup. Didn't really work out, had to go back down to the Xfinity. And listen, he just won the race in Nashville. The guy can get it done. He's on a good team. We know he can race. He's just better fit there because he was not in the correct opportunity moving up in the Cup Series. Hey, real quick, I want to switch gears a little bit before we get to the Xfinity Series. We'll save that for the next segment. We also have some big F1 stuff coming up, so we'll talk about that. But I also want to make mention of sports car racing because the IMSA guys were at Watkins Glen. What we had was the number 10 of Ricky Taylor, one of our buddies here on the show, good friend of ours, a big egghead. So if you know him, he cooks on his egg all the time. Him and his brother, they're always in their backyard doing these chicken wings and pizzas and these curries and all this stuff. They absolutely love it. And they actually do I think it's Tuesdays. They do a Tuesday chicken wing challenge or something like that. And then they all bring these hot sauces and they have that, like the hot sauce challenge stuff. Yeah. I don't know what it's like there on Wednesday, but Tuesday's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Wednesdays are hot.
Yeah. So those guys ended up winning.
Goal to Wednesdays.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Is this one occupied? Yeah. Go
away. Yeah. Go away.
But they ended up winning the 6 hours at Watkins Glen. Congratulations to those guys. And
that was an Acura one too.
Yeah. So that was bringing me to the car situation that we're seeing now with Cadillac and Porsche. I want you to talk about these two coming back into, well, we know Cadillac's been here, but what they're doing now is they're going to be able to run IMSA and run the FIA. Yeah, which is going to be real cool.
Yep. Different car.
Yeah, so here's a picture of the Cadillac. Look at this thing.
Wholly different car. That is the LDMH and the GTP, the hypercar they call it, and it is very Cadillac. Chip Ganassi went with this car, and Penske went with the Porsche, as did JD Miller Motorsports out of Europe as a customer. But Penske is the factory team. They're going to be tough to beat, man. Penske doesn't do anything halfway. Not that JD Miller will either, but let's face it, the Porsches, they come in to play hard, but so does Cadillac. And the Cadillacs, I think, under Ganassi are going to do quite well.
I agree, man. They are kind of cool looking. Even the paint scheme on the Porsche,
very futuristic. It's just, it looks completely. If you look at the Porsche, the 963, which I'm just over the moon to see, you know, coming back instead of the 956s and 962s. Here we have the 963. That's the next iteration after all these years. Here we come back with this style car. It looks a lot like what we see in Le Mans right now, but the Cadillac is something altogether different. It resembles much more the Peugeot or Alpine that they're trying to put together. But the Cadillac, I really want to see this car run. I've got high hopes for it. Let's put it that way. I always love to see the American manufacturers, you know, pull off the Ford versus Ferrari style thing.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
And I think that with the popularity growth of F1, the more sports car stuff you're seeing in the culture, this stuff very welcomed in the U.S. here.
And very technical. These cars are very technical.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break here. When we come back, some F1 news with Michele Rahal. I'm Rob D'Amico. This is Race Day Nation. Welcome back. It's Race Day Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Michele Rahal. You can find us on our website, racedaynation.com. You can follow us on social media at Race Day Nation on pretty much all the channels there, except for like Snapchat. You know, Michele got kicked off that years ago, so we can get back on that one.
I had no idea what it meant.
Hey, also thank the sponsor, rhino.co, for checking us out and being a part of the program. We really do appreciate you. Check those guys out at ryno.co. All right, let's see here. F1 news. So they had the weekend off. They're getting ready for the British Grand Prix coming up, so that's a big deal. You know, you have a lot of things going on in the series. One of them, Ferrari's falling flat on their freaking faces right now, which is an embarrassment for us Italians.
For us Italians, exactly. Mr. D'Amico.
That's right.
At least that's who Siri thinks you are.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, whenever you call me, it's always like Rob D'Amico. Is that what it says?
I have to say that. I can't say D'Amico because it always comes.
Won't understand it, really?
No. Yeah. No, I use the British chick.
I never liked her anyways.
Yeah, I use the British accent chick.
Oh, do you? Maybe that's why.
Maybe I should try the Australian one. I don't know.
Good on, mate.
Yeah, there should be a French one too.
Yeah. Well,
the variety.
So the F1 series, we have you know, Lewis Hamilton obviously doing not what he usually does, but he did show a little glimmer of hope for the team, at least on the last couple of races.
They did, you know, if they get that car right, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But whether or not they do, they're still far behind Red Bull and Ferrari. And at Silverstone, I mean, Hamilton has been a dominant force at Silverstone for several years. But I think what you're going to see this go round is you're going to see Ferrari and Red Bull really taking it to it, because the biggest problem that Mercedes has had has been what's known as porpoising. In other words, the ground effects of the automobile suck the car down to the track. Well, when that happens, the car is bouncing off the track, and there's no outlet for it to relieve the pressure. Well, Silverstone's a very smooth track, And and very high speed, one of the fastest tracks there are. So what they're literally expecting, unless Mercedes shows up with something very special, we're going to see a lot of this bouncing going on. You're going to see that with Ferrari, and you're going to see it also with the Red Bull, just not to the degree that you will see with Mercedes. The other thing is all the bad press that Hamilton is getting right now, and that's from Sir Jackie Stewart, that says Hamilton needs to retire. It's time for him to retire. While he's still got the it factor, that he should go ahead and retire. And Bernie Eccelstone, true to his form, throwing gasoline on the fire. Bernie Eccelstone says, go ahead and take $25 million from Toto Wolff so that he buys out a little bit of the equity that Toto has, and take the 25 mil and run, because your day is over. That's basically what Eccelstone is saying, even though Eccelstone at one point called Hamilton a friend. But Bernie's 92 years old. He is at the point where it's, get off of my lawn, you little bastards. He is not.
It's much further than that. It's, hey, I can fart in church and you're going to like it.
Yeah, I know, and you're going to like it. And the incense will have a reason.
Yeah, but I swear that guy, I mean, you want to know the truth, the hard truth, and nothing but the truth, he'll give it to you.
He'll say whatever he needs to say to have publicity. He is one of those. He's of the Dale Earnhardt era, whether, if they're talking bad about you, it's good. If they're talking good about you, it's good. If they're not talking about you, you're doomed.
Yeah.
So Eccelstone is in that category where he'll say whatever he wants to get into the press, but he's not making great friends with Hamilton. That's for sure.
Well, even Max came out and said his contract goes to 2028, I believe. Yeah. And rumors are kind of already circulating that will be the end. He doesn't want to race after that.
Nope.
He'll know how to walk away. He'll know how to walk away on top, hopefully, in that situation for him. But I think that's that's legit nowadays. What these kids are making,
it's $50 million a year up until 2026 or 2028 for Verstappen. But you see, Verstappen was born and bred to do nothing but this.
Yeah,
that's all he knows, and that's all he wants. Once he's done, he's done. Hamilton has extraneous projects. He's got fashion. He's got movie production with Brad Pitt. He's got all sorts of things going on. And does that affect his ability to concentrate and focus on the job at hand? I think to some degree it does. But I think he's reached the point where if he retired, is he going to retire because of anything that Sir Jackie Stewart says or Bernie Eccelstone says? Hell no.
No.
He's going to do it because he has other interests, music, fashion, etc.
And he does.
Activism as well.
Yeah.
And by the way, stay out of American politics, if you would, please, Sir Hamilton. I mean that.
This message has been brought to you by
Michele Rahal.
All right, let's see here. We're talking F1. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation with F1. We'll also talk about the drivers that are aggressive out there, because we had Ross Chastain. I don't know if you watched the pre-race stuff when they had the lightning delay with the Cup Series race when we started to record this show. I'll get into that here in a second, so stick around. It's Michele Rahal. I'm Rob D'Amico. This is Race Day Nation. All right, welcome back. It's Race Day Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Michele Rahal. Again, find us online, racedaynation.com, or you can go on social and find us at Race Day Nation. And it's all brought to you by Rhino.co. So check those guys out. Classified cars, classics, parts. You can find everything on there. Racing stuff. It's all there. So check it out.
Can I get a Porsche C4, a CS4?
There are some Porsches on there.
I can probably find it there, can't I?
I've been looking them up.
Oh, good.
Hey, speaking of that, I got a big announcement coming up this month too, man. I'm pretty excited. If you're here in Atlanta, we got some cool things going on if you like car clubs. Yeah. And if you like big green eggs, we got something coming up, big announcement for you. So that'd be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited.
I know your
about
secrets.
It. Oh yeah,
but I shall not divulge them.
Okay, don't tell anybody. Not yet.
I won't.
Work that one out. All right, let's see here. We'll go back to Xfinity Series because I wanted to make mention of that because they were obviously in the Nashville area. Again, great town, great city, great fans. They all showed up in droves out there at the racetrack, but it was Justin Allgaier getting the win there. Trevor Bayne was second. Hey, your guy, Herbst is back on top. Ty Gibbs, Sam Mayer, Ryan Preece, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Austin Hill, Ryan Sieg, and Brett Moffitt round out the top 10. But it was the 31-year-old the 36-year-old Justin Allgaier in the number 7 Hellman's Chevy for Junior Motorsports who ended up winning that race. So congratulations to him. Great job. And, you know, he's well deserving. That's a guy we just mentioned before that, you know, this is a guy that went out, tried to go up to the top series in the Cup Series, didn't really work out, went back down, was able to win some championships. And here he is with his, you know, a win in the second annual Tennessee Lottery 250. It's his 18th career victory. This is his second victory and 10th top 10 finish in 2022. Trevor Bayne, that was his fourth top 10 finish in 2022. And I mentioned your man, Riley Herbst. He's back in it. Your buddy there. Let's see. Oh, yeah. You sound very excited.
Yeah. Zoverax.
AJ Allmendinger still your points leader at 601 points. Ty Gibbs moves up. Justin Allgaier also moves up. Noah Gregston, who, by the way, here, you got to see this picture here. Look at this guy. Look at that.
Shades of Tim Richmond.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, dude, this is like a mini Tim Richmond right here.
You got it. Elvis.
Yeah, he just needs he needs a little more, you know, hair on the chest, maybe a chain or two.
You can tell the dude is shaving the thing. I mean, you know, if you're going to sit there and try to show off your chest, and you're going to do it and be an Elvis impersonator, go ahead and let the damn stuff grow, you know?
Yeah, you need get him a couple chains, something like that. I mean, really go all in on this. So I'll finish the points. Josh Berry, 5th in points. That's a guy we were talking about trying to move up to Cup. I'm not sure if he needs to yet, but listen, he's performing. Sam Mayer, Brandon Jones, Austin Hill, Riley Herbst, and Daniel Hemrick round out your top 10 in points in the Xfinity Series.
So we've got a Herbst and we've got a Hemi.
You'll never let that go, man.
I can't. I mean, you know, what the hell? I can't. It's like Tourette's or something. You know?
And then you got this guy. Hey-oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, ladies. He's like, hey, you come here often?
Yeah.
And he's probably doing this with his finger rubbing up and down his chest.
Oh, yeah. Pinching his nipples.
Yeah. I will say, though, it's a very, very physical race for those guys. If you watch the end of that race, they got out of those cars. The heat got to all these guys. I mean,
not surprised.
AJ Allmendinger had to get ice bags and put them on his feet. I think actually Noah, this guy, he was throwing up in the car, if you can imagine that.
Seriously.
Man. Yeah, man, it was brutal. The heat really got to those guys.
Why don't they wear cool suits, you know? I mean, I don't get it.
And actually, that's what they were talking about with the Cup guys, is wearing these cool suits because, you know, this is a necessary thing. And I was listening to the race as it was going on because, again, when we recorded the show, the race was going on. We would have had the results for you here, but it doesn't work out that way. We'll get those to you, but won't be on for this show. But they were talking about the cool suits, and Kyle was saying, hey, listen, my chest, my torso, everything's cool except for the back of my legs and my feet are burning up right now.
They haven't figured out yet how to stop that from happening, but that's a problem. I mean, you can feel the Nissan I drove at Phoenix and Mid-Ohio. The cool suit at Phoenix, it was 110 degrees on the outside of the car. So you can imagine with a front engine car and a turbo, how hot it was inside the car. The cool suit, really, it was a chest, but we also had a skull cap. They don't use those anymore. But when that thing broke, I'm telling you, I might as well have been cast into hell. It was hot, brother.
Yeah.
It was absolutely
So
unbearable.
I've never worn a cool suit. Okay. So if the cool suit stops or doesn't flow water anymore,
Right.
does the water start to heat up and get hot and start
Hell
to
yeah.
feel burning?
It
Like
just stops. I mean, because what you literally have is a cooler filled with ice, water, and every few seconds it will circulate through, and you can feel it. It's weird. It's a really weird feeling, but you welcome it after a while if you've been in the car for a while. And once that thing stops, Katie, bar the door, baby. It's like, you know, the hounds of hell have arrived. It is hot. I mean, hot. And it affects your judgment.
What's
that?
It
literally affects your judgment. It affects
absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely.
It really does.
The only cool suit I know of is this one right here.
Yeah, baby.
That's going to be my new Halloween costume right there.
All
right, let's take a break. We come back. We'll be talking about, we'll do a little F1 here, and I want to talk a little sports cars with you. So stick around. Sure. This is Race Day Nation. Welcome back to Race Day Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. This segment is brought to you by Rhino.co, a classified car. You can find anything you want on there, parts, race cars, you name it. It's all on there. Check them out, ryno.co. Again, you can find us on our website, racedaynation.com, and also on social at Race Day Nation. So check those out. And also another podcast we do as well, or I'm sorry, I do, is Cooks and Cars. I want you to check that one out because I love doing that one. It's two of my favorite passions, so I kind of married them.
We've noticed.
Yeah. So has my gut. Oh, man. I've put on so much weight this year. It's pathetic.
It doesn't look bad on you, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
but
just keep wearing the Charlie Sheen special shirts and you'll be fine. Nothing to worry about.
Next is the moo-moo.
Yeah.
You put that bad boy on. All right, let's talk a little F1 points because we're heading to the Silverstone, the British Grand Prix there. So that'll be a cool little race. Do we expect that to be a fast race? What's that track like?
Yes. That's a very fast track, man. That's a screaming fast track and high speed corners. That's where you're going to see the porpoising happen, where the cars bottom out and bounce. And you're going to see that with Ferrari and with Red Bull, but not as badly with the Red Bull. It just depends on what Mercedes shows up with. And the biggest argument that's going on right now is whether or not the FIA is going to allow these teams to up their budgets to match inflation. Now, there are two sides to that story, and one I totally agree with. In Great Britain, the inflation rate's 11.5%. The United States, 8.5%. Globally, somewhere around 9%, 10%. That affects their shipping. That affects everything that they're doing to move these cars around the world.
Oh, yeah.
I understand it. Now, Vasseur with Alfa Romeo says, no, let's keep it situ. Let's keep everything the way it is, because they don't want to see the three major teams, that would be Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari. They don't want to see them turn that into R&D. Honestly, I don't really know how they're going to be able to turn it into too much R&D because the shipping costs are real. They're hard costs due to inflation.
Yeah.
And there's not much of an end in sight. So I would not argue against being able to move that budget cap up a little bit to cover inflation, even if it's half. Anything helps. But you know, you're seeing a lot of these teams that are going to. You're going to see what may happen if they don't increase the budget. Lawsuits are going to start flying, and the World Championship could very well be decided in court. That is not the way to have a World Championship decided.
No, not at all. And especially with the way it is gaining ground, especially here in the U.S.
Yeah.
You don't want that because then they're going to lose all connection to the sport, which will be.
And America is the most litigious country on earth. Let's face it. It is. So, I mean, you know, who knows? Chances are they'll file, you know, lawsuits with the EU or in Great Britain, but you never know. They could very well file it in the U.S. where lawsuits are a flying, and there's a whole bunch of lawyers that would like to make a whole bunch of money off of Formula One.
There's no doubt about that. All right, well, let's look at the points right now. It's still Max Verstappen on top, 175 points. Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, which this is really mind-boggling how bad Ferrari has screwed this up. George Russell is 4th. Carlos Sainz is 5th. Lewis Hamilton is 6th. Lando Norris, 7th. 8th is Valtteri Bottas. 9th is Esteban Ocon sitting there. And then Fernando Alonso rounding out the top 10 in points in the Formula One season 2022. So should be a pretty good one. And hopefully with Netflix, we were talking about this off air a little bit ago, but the ESPN and what's going on there. So talk about that real quick.
$75 million, and Netflix was fighting to get rights to the to broadcast Formula One. ESPN slipped in there and nailed them at 75 mil, outbid them. So it's going to be ESPN again, and I'm okay with that. Whatever I said about ESPN, I take back.
Oh, how quickly that changes, Michele.
If Joe Biden can do it, so can I.
Hey, real quick, talking about streaming services and that stuff, we are also on a streaming service with Racing America. So check those guys out. Zumo, Plex, Local Now, maybe ESPN3.
Yeah, maybe ESPN3. Yeah,
Michele,
I'm all for it. Let's do it.
All right, let's take a break here. When we come back, we're gonna wrap up the show, see what's going on, maybe check in with the Cup race as we're going along here. I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Michele Rahal. This is Race Day Nation. All right, Michele, I guess this is it. We got to wrap it up, and great show today. We talked about a lot of great things today, and I got to be honest with you. When I saw the Porsche and the Cadillacs, I was like, oh, man, we got some good stuff coming up in the next few years. Yeah.
Racing's on the rise, and we're loving it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. All right, don't forget, check out our sponsor, Rhino.co. That's RYNO.co. Check us up online at racedaynation.com or on social at racedaynation. Michele, where can they find you?
They can find me at Michele Rahal, and that is MicheleRahal on Facebook, or on Instagram at Michele Rahal and the number 9, MicheleRahal and the number 9.
You can play along with my shenanigans at Rob D'Amico, ROBDAMICO. All right, Michele, thank you very much for all the race fans out there. Thank you for watching. I'm Rob D'Amico. This has been Race Day Nation.